Nerd Skool is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Now offering video visits so you can take control of your orthopedic care from the comfort of your home. Schedule online at orthocarolina.com. Ortho Carolina, you improve.
Hey, fellows. It's the first night of another season.
Nerd roll. My glasses are broken.
And this will begin season 2 of Nerd Skool.
Welcome back to season 2, Nerd High. Glad to have you.
It's gonna be crazy stunts. We're gonna there's gonna be stunts.
Joe's gonna
fireworks.
bring more penis jokes.
There's a lot of penis stuff.
I am a super nerd.
The Nerd Skool Podcast.
Starring Andy,
Star Spangled Band with a plan.
Maybe I'll try to do a cartwheel.
TBJ,
Welcome. Congratulations. You did dirt. Ta-da. I ain't got no shame. All my exes can tune in. We can have an episode where I compare them to all the Marvel villains. We can do that.
Artstar,
I don't love Wiener. I'm just trying to make money. Lord Artemis Prime.
No.
Yeah, my real name is Joe. Did I ever tell you about the time I hung out with DMC at Mertz?
The Nerd Skool Podcast.
The Sith Lord is here.
Artstar.
Welcome to the soap opera party, where we're discussing.
You talking about Young and the Restless?
Days of Our Lives,
Oh,
featuring T-Boz and Jack A.
Is
T-Boz is on it?
there?
T-Boz was on it. I don't know if she is anymore, but she was.
Wow.
recently?
I don't know when T-Boz was, but Jack A was on it last week. I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack A's been on there quite a few since the pandemic. I mean,
Yes.
I haven't watched it in a long time, but I do know like one of the last times I watched it, she was on there.
Yep.
So
I remember.
the three dudes have all watched Days of Our Lives.
And I watched none of them. I haven't watched soap opera since my mom probably had it on 2 decades ago.
Well, that's a good intro to a new episode of
Nerd School,
Skool.
now soap opera school.
Soap Opera Podcast. We're
Change it up.
back. We got everybody here. We got TBJ.
Yep.
What up?
We got
Wait.
Professor Andy.
Yep.
I like
was
how
just-
you were me for a
I was
second.
just verifying that TBJ is indeed here.
Okay.
And the happy
Oh,
hour
boy.
drunk man, Artstar. He's still drunk from last happy hour.
Wow.
Listen. He's
Hi,
always
guys.
drunk.
We ready to talk about Thor The Darkworld?
Yeah. let's
Or
go.
2 Electric Boogaloo.
Is that what people
That is
call
the
it?
alternate title.
That's the alternate title of every movie that is the second movie in its franchise.
Mhm.
Either that or it's 2 Thor, 2 Dark, 2 World.
There you go.
So this movie is the worst of the MCU, correct?
It's accused of being the worst.
Yeah. Everyone's got their own taste, but like this is
the worst, the bottom of the barrel.
I don't
it's
think
No, I
it's
think
the
the-
bottom
the-
of the barrel.
The
but-
first Thor is the worst.
The first Thor is
oh, that's
worse than
right. You
this?
didn't like the
Yeah.
first Thor.
First Thor.
Do you think the
What?
first Thor is worse than this one?
Yeah, I do. Because like not ironically, oddly enough, like just watching the Dark World a couple of times recently, I can see where they've gotten like the whole progression of like how we got that Thor movie, and then of that like how like Iron Man and what's the other one, Captain America, how like they were made around the same time, but they seem light years ahead of Thor. The Dark World, even though it was kind of stupid, I felt like it caught up to what Marvel is and what Marvel was at that time, along with like Avengers, and then like with Iron Man 3 and was it Winter Soldier's next, right? No,
Yeah.
it was yeah. So it's like it's almost like there, but then it also I don't know, like I watching it, I just kept trying to sit there and pull stuff from it, and like I was visualizing myself watching Ragnarok and then like Infinity War and all of that, and then seeing shit going like even like with the Easter egg, not Easter egg,
Easter chicken.
no, the post credit scene where it was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, okay, and then like the whole like you on it, like if you haven't seen, like Joe probably won't know. Joe definitely won't know this, but then just like the whole thing that they like. This is like the reality stone is pretty much Thor: The Darkworld. Like it's all about the introduction of the reality stone, which you don't necessarily know that it's about that until you get to the very end, or if you already know. Which I know Joe.
So that was is that the very end, the post credit scene with the collector?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the reality stone that they were talking about?
Yeah.
That they were hiding.
But so my question though, why do you so I didn't think it was dumb. I don't think it's I guess here's how I watch every movie. I take it in as it's its own thing. I don't prejudge it against anything, and I don't think about what has come after. I just take it in. And just going back and watching this one, I don't think it's a bad movie. I liked having time to flush out some other people. I like getting more of Frigga. I like those things for me, because we had a chance to see other people be badass other than Thor and his Mew Mew. And I love extra Darcy time. Maybe that's because I'm a sarcastic.
Darcy.
But I love.
I stand Darcy.
You love what? Wait, Darcy. Let her finish her sentence. You love Darcy?
I love anytime I can love Darcy.
It's like he wanted you to perfect. He wanted you
I know. He's going to force me to say it.
I wasn't sure if you were going to say, I love Thor Darkworld or I love Darcy or what you were about to say.
No, I was going to say, I love her in general. Anytime we get to see her, it's a delight. It's a little light in all of the superhero shenanigans. I think we can all agree she brings the funny. But I liked getting, again, Odin got on my damn nerves this entire movie. I'll just get that out real quick. I was like, dude, you were working all my nerves in all of them.
Yeah. Odin being considered a great father, whereas not actually being a great father. It comes to a head more in Ragnarok, but I mean Odin is positioned as the wise, great and wise king. But he wasn't always that, and he's still not always that. And I think this movie suffered at the time, at least, from being right after Avengers, the first Avengers movie, which was basically the pinnacle of nerdvana. When that came out, is like that's what everyone had dreamed of for long. Like all like the comic nerds are like, what if they made a movie with all the Avengers in it? That was an amazing thing. And then Iron Man 3 kind of came out, and people, I don't know, like once you get to Avengers, everyone's expecting Avengers level everything after that. So going back down to Iron Man 3 kind of got knocked around by the fans a bit, because I think probably they're like, oh, why did you focus on the kids so much? And then this one kind of came out and it wasn't, and it didn't have everybody in it. So I think probably that everyone had to relearn, oh wait, not every movie it's going to be about the Avengers. These are different people.
Right.
So I think there was a little bit of a post-Avengers kind of let down that eventually, like Captain America, the next movie kind of picks it up, and then I
think also what it does too, though, is just like, all of these movies always have some sort of thing where they're catering towards this audience, that audience, or someone who just wants to watch like a good movie kind of thing. Like I said earlier, like, to me, the realization just hit that this is basically a movie about the reality stone. And it's like, if you don't know that, going and watching to this movie, you're gonna say like, oh, this is that one guy with the hammer from from Avengers, and you're expecting like some super big bad boss fight and like, some other big other than the Captain American cameo, some other big cameo just come in.
That was so fun.
Fight on, beat him up, bang bang kind of thing. But it like I say, it was the reality stone backstory.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember the issues I had at the time with this movie, because Thor, I think at the time was like sort of the least exciting hero of all the Avengers for me, just because he was still cool, but like the first movie was, I can't believe they made this work at all. Just knowing what I knew about Thor beforehand, the weird Viking who talks like Shakespeare, how are you going to translate it? And it actually worked enough to make it okay in the Avengers. And this one was like, well, we're going back to Viking Valhalla stuff. That's
Do you
not.
think if he wasn't attractive, it would have worked?
Oh no, Thor's.
Like if he looked like Rick the Hammer Valentine,
no, it would not have worked.
It would not have worked. Right? It had to be attractive Chris Hemsworth.
I mean,
Hemsworth.
What if it was Matt Damon? Not Matt Damon. Who plays Thor? This is
Tom Cruise.
That's not Tom. What?
Ben Affleck.
Would not work.
Yeah, Ben Affleck. What if it was Ben Affleck?
Would
I don't
he
think
all the
Affleck
time?
Could have been a Thor.
Yeah, he's Affleck is kind of just Affleck in a different outfit in a different situation all the time. Although there's a couple, like I think The Town was pretty good. Argo was solid.
He has gems.
He does. I mean, Argo was a movie that made going through customs exciting, and I don't know how that happened.
Right.
Argo, fuck
you
yourself.
know who could have been Thor? Who could have been Thor, and the whole world would have rejoiced? Idris Elba. He could have been Thor. Idris
Elba.
He could have. So we could have recast. We could have recast him doll and put Idris in there with that.
So who
that
would be Heimdall?
Well,
cool.
Yeah, Idris Elba was controversial casting when it first happened, just because everyone. They're Norse gods. They should all be white. There shouldn't be any black people in a Nordic god movie, and they're like,
God bless.
These are mythological characters.
Nerds.
They can be anything.
They could be any. Yeah, they didn't even have.
But we see it everywhere. Listen, right? Literally. But you know. Your people, I'm gonna say your people because it's your people. Your people got issues, Andy and Joe.
Andy and I,
they have hardcore issues.
Hey, there's people that think Andy and I are Asian. So
who thinks you're?
Well, can I say this?
Joe, when you had your hair out, when you grew your hair out, you kind of look like what's that actor's name? He's not
the dude from 911.
Fabio.
No, Joe. I'm sorry.
Was an Asian?
I love you.
An Asian guy.
Yeah. He's Asian. He's mixed. He's Asian and white.
From Reno 911.
Well, I know it's a guy. Every time I see the commercial for 911, there's the one guy on there who looks like Joe, except he's more clean cut and he has a short haircut. Like if you were to sit there, like Joe, you could be his stand-in.
911 is that show with Angela Bassett, right?
Oh, I thought you were about Reno 911.
Yeah.
No.
We'll have to look. Joe, I can see that.
Yeah, we can look.
You grow your hair out.
Not Kenneth Choi?
There is no, I don't think that's it. No, that's not who I'm thinking about for you, Joe. But I'll find it. It'll probably be after this episode.
That'll be fine.
No, this is you.
But Andy and I both have been asked, and I thought I think you asked us when you first met us if we were.
Would not have read Andy as Asian. I would read Andy as average white guy.
There was like two different people, and I remember being at Stage Door, and they asked if we were Asian. I don't know why. I don't know why.
You guys see this?
No,
not really. Your background is kind of obscuring your image.
Let's see if I can do this. Keep talking.
All right.
Anyway, so it's our people that the white people that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, so the Heimdall controversy. Yeah.
But Idris Elba is great, and Heimdall is great, and it makes me hope he could somehow show up in a different role in the MCU.
Right.
Yeah, I mean he's cool here, and he's like he has his awesome moment where the invisible ship comes by and he like, actually figures it out and just does the jumpy sword stab. That was awesome. This movie is not as bad as I remember it the first time I saw it, coming out of it going, but the more I've seen it, the more I'm like, oh, you know what? All right, it's what it is. What it is. It's his own thing, and it's cool.
My big question is about the ether, that stuff that
lives
in the
sludge.
Wall or whatever, the angry sludge that lives in the wall. You know, it just lives in that wall, and she happened to go find it. Like, is that
wasn't a wall? It was like she went through a dimension-ish kind of thing. It wasn't a wall per se.
Yeah, it was more like a monolith that was in.
Yeah.
Okay, it was inside of there. But is this whole thing all from comics in the past, this ether business, or is it like a new thing, or do we know?
I was just looking at that or trying to determined that. I mean, the ether is the reality stone. At some point, it becomes concentrated into the
that. I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the ether is in a different form, and I'm not sure if that's. Unfortunately, my nerd knowledge fails me in this.
So according to Wikipedia, Malekith was attempting to use the ether to destroy the 9 realms and return the universe to its pre-Big Bang state.
According to the movie as well, not just Wikipedia.
Well, they're talking about the Wikipedia. I'm talking about the Wikipedia description of the movie. Only to be thwarted by Bor, who had it hidden. I didn't ever know Odin's father was Bor.
B-O-R.
Well, think about it. If you know any type of Viking lore, Viking, like the sons are named after the dad. You have like Leif Erikson named after Eric the Red. Like, so I was watching it and I was like, well, let's say if Americans, like nowadays we did the whole your name, like your last name ends up being you add son to it, but then like let's say for instance, like I'm a junior, so my dad's name is Arthur. So like if I was a Viking, my name would be Arthur Arthurson. Like,
yeah. And we're Joe would be Joe Bobson.
No joke. This is how my grandmother named her first 3 children. She just added on to their dad's name. But the thing is, the first 2, they're women. So my aunt Leola's dad is Lee. My mom, Henrietta's dad, is Henry. So my grandma was like,
all right,
add on to these names. Let's just forget creativity. Hey, Lee, here's your daughter Leola.
I like the name Leola though. And
here is Henrietta. She did not. Apparently, she must have been reading myths where she was like, you know what? No need to add new names into this joint. Add some letters onto the existing names.
Yeah, there you go. The other that's Malekith is another thing this movie suffers from because
the Teletubbies.
They're
basically
dark
fighting
elves.
Teletubbies. They look like Teletubbies to me.
It's just that Malekith, Christopher Eccleston is a good actor. He played Destro in the G.I. Joe movie, but
I didn't realize that was the same guy.
Yep, and he's also played Doctor Who at one point. But this, like, he's got like maybe 3 lines that are not in Elvish, and
I did not know it was that same guy. I didn't. So
I'm surprised, Joe-verse. I'm surprised.
I didn't realize that was the same guy as
Joe-verse.
Excuse me.
That's normally how you wrote
Eccleston, Christopher Eccleston.
Yeah, but the villain is just not compelling. All he is like he just stares and looks at stuff and wants to make everything dark. It's just there's no
depth to it.
I mean, there's not.
I can agree to that. Yeah.
He's not super compelling. I mean, like, yes, he's threatening, but it's just he talks and mutters stuff in Elvish and then says a few things, and then kind of isn't very interesting.
Yeah, I can see that 100%. No, Joe, you call him Teletubby. I was like an anorexic Teletubby. Good God, because they were just so. Maybe that's how they lived.
They were like Putty from Power Rangers. Like even most of them to me look like they were straight out of Power Rangers. You know, just the walking, the bulky suits. Like this is like Power Rangers in the MCU.
All right, hold on a minute. I have to take care of something here.
Christopher, while we're talking about Christopher Eccleston, he went to Joseph Eastman High School.
Are we on time? Are we on American timeline?
In Salford, England.
This is famous alumni.
Notable alumni include judo coach and bronze medalist Neil Eckersley, a weightlifter and bronze medalist David Mercer, and Luke Marshall. Whoever Luke Marshall is.
Everybody listening, that is Joe's plug for American timeline.
Luke Marshall's an Irish rugby union player. So there you go.
Wait, what?
I know. If you guys have not tuned in to Joe's other podcast,
American Timeline, History for Jerks.
He loves the tunnel of alumni in high schools and colors and who their mascots was.
Yes, and a little preview of this week's episode. I made my daughter listen to the birthdays of John Malkovich and Sam Kinison. I made her listen. She
was so excited.
I made her watch video previews of both of them, so she knew who they were.
Oh, good Lord.
So smart.
Yeah.
What did you pick from Sam Kinison? Well, let's leave that for
He was just
Times.
screaming.
Yeah.
I'm sure she was like, Dad,
my wife left me. Oh! I try to convince her to be Sam Kinison for Halloween next year, but I'm
sure she's not.
I
don't think she's into that. Other interesting things about this film.
Yeah.
The
Frigga
Warriors 3. Yeah, Frigga, we needed more Frigga. I remember being disappointed that she was killed off before she did a whole lot.
Because this is the chance to use that actress who's
Renee Russo.
Renee Russo. Very famous for a lot of stuff, right?
But we got to see her fight for a moment. And I was like, thank goodness. My God. A little bit of woman badassery.
Yeah. And then we see a little conflict between Natalie Portman's character and
Odin.
Lady Sif.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a conflict. I think it's a
jealousy.
Little tinge.
Well, that's also comic book shit too, because like in the comic book there was always been that, I don't want to say it was a love triangle, but it's just that the whole like both of them and like Thor, like I guess torn between two women kind of thing.
Yeah, but I think it's more of like not torn like, oh my God, I love her so much, but this is who I should be with, right?
Right,
this is
the goddess. Yeah,
world tells me to be with.
Yeah,
and this is who that's what I'm supposed to do, but this is who I actually love over here in these streets.
You ever been stuck in one of those conundrums, DBJ?
I don't like enough people to be stuck in any of those.
Artstar, what about you? You ever been in one of those like love things where you're like, oh, I should be with this person, but instead I'm with this person? And if so, who and where do they live now?
I know, because we never get Artstar's backstory. We don't know what he does.
I gave Joe 3 hours of backstory.
Yeah,
I know.
2 more episodes of Artstar backstory.
He's got to air it all out.
And that's just a bit of my origin story.
And that's just one beer's worth.
Man, you got to get him into 3 beers.
So once we get the shots flowing, we'll get the real Artstar story.
Yeah.
But
every sexual encounter of Artstar on the next episode of Nerd Skool.
Wow. After 3 shots of vodka.
I love how you guys paint me out to be like this weak liquor holding type of dude.
Well,
do we paint you that way, or?
I mean, y'all just said 3 shots of liquor. I basically become like I don't want to say a snitch.
I'm just gonna say in one live show where you had a beer, and yes, it was what is that? A high, what do you call that, percentage? But after that one beer, I just want to remind you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Barely paying attention.
I fairly recall anything of a such. And
you barely recall it because you had the one damn beer.
I'm going to have
why
to
you barely recall it.
To the topic of this podcast, which is Thor: The Darkworld.
It was a significantly high proof beer.
But that's my point. That one beer and 3 shots of vodka should probably accomplish the same thing.
Well, I believe you said on the last episode that you don't drink.
Hey, isn't that sort of problematic? I would think that's sort of problematic. That's almost
what's problematic. Us just like, stating a fact.
It's almost like you guys plan on slipping me a couple of Mickeys.
No, if we were going to slip you a Mickey, we wouldn't tell you that we're about to give you 3 shots. The shots could be in celebration of whatever. We could get together and just fellowship and be like, shots, because we're out here doing the damn thing. And
right, yeah, like, and or, the whole time,
Joe's taking over something, or Andy's conquered the dark world. We never know what shots to. We never know. That's all we're saying.
It all boils down to you're trying to get under the skin of a fledgling Sith Lord, but it's cool.
Am I trying?
It's cool.
It's not an Asperger. You just
I feel like if you're a fledgling Sith Lord, everything gets under your skin already.
Thank you, Andy.
Because if you're going down the dark path, stuff's under your skin already.
I just changed my Twitter handle to Knight of Kylo.
Lord.
I much prefer Artemis Prime.
I mean, Artemis Prime is still there, but I just want you to know I'm a Knight of Kylo.
Okay. Why?
Kylo's not even a knight.
Right.
Hey, if I wanted to, I could knight Joe.
Hey.
I could knight Joe.
Hey.
Joe is a knight of Artemis Prime.
Well, because we're the Rock and Roll Express, baby.
He's my squire.
Joe's just gonna co-sign on whatever you put out there.
We're styling and profiling.
Right. Yeah. This doesn't make it okay.
Artstar is the Ric Flair of the Nerd Skool podcast. We're the four horsemen.
Who's the four horsemen?
I'm Arn Anderson.
No,
Andy's probably Arn. Maybe I'm Arn. Andy's Mungo McMichael.
Tiffany's not here for this, so she's not.
I mean, nobody can really be Chris Benoit because of tragedy.
No one wants to be.
Yeah. On that note, let's take a quick break and listen to this word from our sponsor. We'll be right back.
I like true crime, so I decided to make a true crime podcast where I cover true crime stories year by year.
And I hate true crime, so I decided to beef up my wife's true crime podcast by telling people what was on TV during each one of those murders, or who was winning that wrestling match during that awful rape.
The result is American Timelines, where we cover strange, fascinating happenings.
And sometimes silly stories, and even birthdays. Didn't you always wonder when Don Cheadle was born?
No.
Didn't you at least wonder what the #1 song was when Don Cheadle was born?
No.
Well, what did you want to know?
Just about murder. Sweet, sweet, grisly murder.
Well, sometimes you talk about UFOs or ghost stories, too.
Yes, those are cool, too.
And who hasn't wondered what episode of 227 was on during a haunting?
Everyone.
Download and subscribe to American Timelines by History for Jerks. You can hear it on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts.
It's better than it sounds.
It really is.
American Timelines by History for Jerks, the greatest podcast ever.
Okay, and we're back, and the nerds are going to teach me about the Collector. What's the deal with the Collector, and what's the
deal with the Collector?
Who's that guy, and what's he supposed to be, and why am I like? I feel like he's still only been in it. Like this is our.
Well, you've seen him before. You just saw him in What If?
Yeah. Well. Yeah, but I only think I remember him from this. Like, does he end up being a big storyline in the MCU, or?
Sort of. He shows up a couple times. It's the first hint of the Guardians of the Galaxy cosmic Marvel stuff that they're about to start in this phase. And he's got a part to play in Infinity War.
Yeah.
But it's Benicio Del Toro.
Everybody loves Benicio Del Toro, right? All people love Benicio Del Toro.
I think so.
Who doesn't love Frankie Four Fingers?
What's that?
Frankie Four Fingers.
From Usual Suspects?
From Snatch.
Oh, Snatch.
It's a man with 4 fingers. Oh. I can be.
Let it out, Artstar. Let it out.
Well, Del Toro was born in San Germain, Puerto Rico, to Gustavo Adolfo Del Toro Bermudez and Fausta Genoveva Sanchez Rivera.
You nailed it. You nailed it.
They were both lawyers. He was born to 2 lawyers.
The best way I've ever heard that.
Yeah.
It makes sense. 2 lawyer parents, you become an actor.
Yeah.
The Collector is one of the elders of the universe. There's like a
elders of the universe.
Yeah, I don't know a hell of a lot about them. I keep mixing them up with the Eternals.
We have the Contest of Champions where it's him versus
but that's the Grandmaster. The Grandmaster who shows up in the next Thor.
Contest of Champions is the Grandmaster and the Collector using each of their different champions. Or Dragon Ball Z does kind of sort of the same thing with their thing, where they have like these 2 creatures from the same universe, or like supposed like they almost like cousins. But anyway,
can you dumb this down for me? What is this? It's like it's like galactic collectors
it's like hero clicks,
and then they make them fight in like an arena type of thing.
Yeah, the Collector also collects people as you'll find out later.
Yeah.
The Grandmaster is a guy who's all into games and challenges and stuff.
Which you'll find out about in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, he's
what's he called? The Games Master?
The Grandmaster.
Grandmaster.
And I don't know if they're brothers or whatever, but they've done this. There's this Marvel storyline called the Contest of Champions that hasn't been in the MCU yet, really.
Okay.
Or well, I guess it has. I guess the stuff in Ragnarok is the Contest of Champions. But it was an excuse for Marvel Comics to have heroes fight each other, which they do all the time now anyway.
Okay.
Right.
But back in the day, it was like Secret Wars was the first big Marvel crossover like that, where a bunch of heroes got taken to some distant battle world planet and forced to fight each other by some.
And then they keep doing it over and over and over again.
Yeah. We'll see plenty of that in Civil War. But
is there an element of this whole idea and thing to like poke fun at comic fans who are also like toy fans and collectors and all that?
Poking fun. I don't think it's poking fun.
Or is it just, or is it more of, would you say it's more of like, you will relate to these characters because they collect things like you do? Or is it not even a...
I don't know if they were made for us to relate to as characters.
Mm-hmm.
I would not say. I think it's just a storyline of everything has something bigger, I think. If I were to dissect it as Tiffany, there's always something bigger than the thing happening. If we want to go deep. That's how I would imagine it being. Like the heroes aren't in all the control. There's someone who can control them for this circumstance,
Right. Yeah, there's Elders of the Universe is like a lot of, weird cosmic shit, really. Trying to see who the other ones are. It's not just these two guys. But yeah, crap. That'd be more research on my part. I don't know a hell of a lot about these guys.
Well, we can. I mean, we're gonna have to deal with them again in Thor Ragnarok. So
yeah,
Joe will probably have another question about the Grandmaster.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'll have, because like as you all obviously know, like for me, seeing that and seeing, he's a collector guy, I don't know, it means nothing. But for you guys, like, it's the collector.
Right. The Elders of the Universe, and I think the original, the original Infinity Saga, where they introduced all the Infinity Stones and stuff. The Elders, like each Elder had one of them, like was the guardian, like the caretaker of one of the Infinity Stones.
Okay.
Like there was the champion, who's a giant wrestler kind of dude.
Is he in the MCU, or is this
not that we've
comics?
seen? I haven't seen that guy. There's there's the gardener, there's the astronomer, there's a batch of different weirdos that they had to go to different areas and pass different tests to get the Infinity Stones, I think. So that's what that was, if I recall properly. But that's what the collector is about, and they don't really lean into that super much.
Yeah.
He's kind of like just a weirdo eccentric in this, but unless they change things in the next phase or bring him back for some reason. But
well, Benicio Del Toro was in Madonna's La Isla Bonita video. Just a little trivia there for you.
Good to know.
And Miami Vice. He was on Miami
Vice. This is your thing, Joe.
Yeah, trivia. I'll just throw out the trivia every once in a while.
Yeah, right. So when
Joe's ready for the trivia.
Your dichotomy, you're like the obscure, weird trivia guy.
Yeah.
Other trivia is that the guy who plays Fandral in the Warriors 3, Fandral, Volstagg,
okay,
and
which
Hogan.
one is Fandral? Okay, let me try to guess those three.
That's Josh Dallas's character that got. I won't say he got kicked off, but he decided to go do Manifest and some other thing.
So he left the MCU. This guy Fandral.
Yeah.
So was it Fandral? No, wait. So the Warriors 3 are
Source buddies.
Lady Sif.
Lady Sif is not one of the Warriors 3.
Oh,
she's like the fourth.
Lady
Warriors
Sif
thing.
and the Lady Warriors.
And the Warriors
3. It's like and the war, yeah.
So I remember that, like the heavy guy with the red beard.
Yeah, Sif is D'Artagnan. The other three are the Three Musketeers, basically.
There you go.
What are their three names? I'll try to guess which one's
Fandral, Hogan, and Volstagg.
Volstag's the guy with the big beard, right?
Right.
So I got that.
Who was
Hogan,
played by a guy who played Punisher once.
one guy. Oh yeah, because these are the ones that Tony Stark calls Robin Hood and
Yeah.
what was it
No,
called?
Tony Stark doesn't call him that. Robin Hood, Jackie Chan, and Cena.
Yeah.
No.
Remember which one? That was like a SHIELD agent from the first Thor
Yeah, I
movie.
said it was Shield.
Oh.
Like, that's where it came up. But yes,
Anyway, I don't know which one's Hogan then.
Well, Fandral is Shazam.
Yeah, the guy who plays Fandral, who is Robin Hood.
Yeah, he plays Shazam
He
later.
plays Shazam in the Shazam movie.
Oh.
He also was in the movie
Super
Chuck.
Nerd.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Hogan is Jackie Chan, and he's
that's a famous guy too, right?
Yeah. Japanese actor.
I don't know. And then Volstagg is the big dude. And they each had a moment in here.
They did. They had a moment to show off their skill sets and their
which makes their appearance in the next Thor movie all that more
the demise of the Warriors 3.
Which just like, oh, remember these guys? Don't need to. it's just oh, these guys were a thing. They're not anymore. See ya. Which is a little disappointing, but
right.
There's enough. Been. Yeah, there's enough going on in Ragnarok that
you could have made it a thing. Yeah.
Oh, we need to close these guys' story arcs.
You know what's also weird about this too? Like this is around the time that Sif was making her one of her few guest appearances on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, yeah.
And it's almost like the MC S.H.I.E.L.D. was still, which I think I read recently, they're supposed to be getting back to being canon in the MCU. But at the time, they were still kind of sort of canon. And then they went their separate way. Marvel Television went separate from Marvel movies, and you stopped seeing less of, I mean, I won't say less of, because you didn't see a lot of them anyway, but like, you didn't see Sam Jackson occasionally pop up on S.H.I.E.L.D. and be like, how did they afford Sam Jackson for this, brief cameo?
Yeah, like the movies would never acknowledge them, but they kept acknowledging the movies like desperately.
Mm-hmm.
Like, please validate us. And they did with, Nick Fury showing up here and there and Sif showing up. And they had Agent Coulson.
They showed up on the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show?
Yeah. Just basically cameos.
There's
like one episode with Sif and, Coulson.
They ran with Coulson dying in the MCU. I mean, they started, which allowed them to introduce life model decoys into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which became a super big thing of that show. Like so many LMDs.
LMDs are essentially robot duplicates of people.
Oh, jeez.
Like much like the robot Isaac from the Love Boat.
What are you saying?
LMD.
Oh God.
Life model decoy.
So is that like the same thing that Isaac on the Love Boat has?
Yeah, there's one episode of the Love Boat that I watched recently that where Telly Savalas as Dr. Fabian Kane built a robot version of Isaac the bartender to steal a horse from Terry from Three's Company.
I'm just watching Tiffany's face as you're saying this. Just like...
I just like saying that sentence.
I never was into the Love Boat. So.
I wasn't either, but I've just been watching it lately as just like late night. All right,
as your COVID watching screens.
Yeah.
I'm in full on holiday movie madness.
Oh, already.
Yeah, right.
Every weekend is a new movie, and you got at least 3 or 4 channels that show a new movie.
Did you watch Wine? Whatever it was, that new one they had with Wine in the title with the black guy. It's Wine.
Did it air this past weekend?
Right.
No, I didn't. I wasn't here this weekend, so I had to catch up on this weekend's viewings. I have an app on my phone. It gives me a list of all the ones that are premiering in 2021, and I check off as I watch them. Listen, you laugh, but work and now is stressful AF, and keeping me from like throwing my desk and resigning in a fit is Christmas movies.
So it's the end of every episode that it says, "Did I fuss at you today? You're welcome. You better thank Hallmark."
That's exactly
that's my favorite quote.
That's it. We're gonna change that for this current moment at work. Is did I quit today? No, okay. Thank Hallmark. That is where we are, y'all, with life. I love what I do, but
do you ever though? Here's my question about this Hallmark. I've been thinking a lot about this every time, at the end of every episode when you say that. I think, are there ever any Hallmark movies where you're like, this isn't even it, and it's like he shouldn't be with her, then you're mad?
No, they don't.
Are they always
happen? Some that are just a little too much, and I'm like, okay, I'm not about to sit down and do this today. But that's
what you mean, like too sappy?
I mean too sappy. Like if it's too, sometimes I don't like certain actors, and I may be like, this ain't it, girl. And if that's
so you definitely wouldn't watch the Tom Cruise holiday movie.
No, we're gonna say hell to the no, and the words of late Whitney Houston, hell to the no. It's a no.
Bobby?
It's a no. It's a no. Bobby.
No.
It's a no for me.
That brings up a question. Like I was trying to think, does Tom Cruise have a Christmas movie? And then I go, would he? Do Scientologists celebrate Christmas? Do they have holidays?
Oh, that's a good question.
But he'd be acting.
Even have holidays.
So it wouldn't necessarily. Yeah. It wouldn't be like Tom Cruise saves Christmas.
No, but I think he does pay attention to what his people say in the church before he takes a role.
Well, the church probably says you should celebrate yourself.
I can imagine having someone tell me like, oh, well, you can't play this for your, I don't know, I guess.
It goes past that. Lovely, sometimes they're telling you can't, listen, my cousin was in a cult and it was like, you can't come home to visit your family. It's if like my younger cousin had a field trip at school before they made him switch into the cult school, my older cousin would have to ask permission from the head of the church if he could go on this school field trip. Like, it doesn't make sense to most of us because I'm not asking a grown-ass person about permission that's not work-related project. But you're in, you don't always know that you're in. And then by the time you're at the point where you're asking permission to do things, you're thinking.
Oh, I mean, I'm about to get this. As long as I ain't trying to hurt nobody or kill nobody, you ain't gonna. I can't imagine having some Christian preacher tell me that, you can't do this podcast because when it's podcast, I hear you say fuck a lot, and we don't condone that.
But that's not what happens. I don't think. I know. I have never edited who I am, and I go to church. I have a church home. I have a church family. Not once has anyone ever said, Tiffany, tone it down. The level of sass that is Tiffany is the same because it's not their job. Like if I'm out here doing crazy things, they may just be like, are you all right? Is everything okay? Do you need something? But you should start questioning if where you are, what you belong to is really forcing you. And it's not, listen, it's in a lot of subgroups. It's not always religious affiliated. There are, when you go into these smaller groups and someone takes the lead, think of serial killer partnerships. Somebody's in charge of that sucker. Somebody's making the
Manson.
Yeah, like somebody's following the lead of the other person, but it's never like, here, follow my lead. We're toxic. Nope, you're just in it. You're doing a thing, and next thing you know, you're a Scientologist jumping on Oprah.
So you're sitting there saying that Tom Cruise would be forbidden possibly from making a Christmas movie because
I don't think they would come to him and say you're forbidden. I think they would. I think they're not dumb.
I think they arrange all his movies, don't they?
But I think they give him advice. I think they would ask him, hey, do you think that's a smart move? Is this something you would want to do?
I think they would let him do it because Christmas movies are money makers, and that's what they're about. And they need their celebrity spokesperson, their idol to keep the recruitment numbers up, I would think.
Yeah, so people do say that they cater to Tom Cruise.
Yeah, high level Scientology, famous Scientology is not rank and file Scientology. Yeah. It's, they'll do anything to keep their.
Hope they don't come for us, Andy.
They might come. They could cancel us.
Come for me. I got time.
Oh, TBJ got a battle.
Come for me. I got time right now and a lot of angst. Let's do it.
Can we talk real quick about Darcy's love scene?
Making out with the intern.
Yeah.
He
great.
saves her life.
He saved her life, and then she
just makes out with him.
Makes out with him.
Yep. How do you like Dr. Eric Selvig having gone crazy after Loki mind controlled him in the Avengers, and then he had a concussion he needed to get it hit in the head really hard to shake it, and now he's experiencing post-traumatic symptoms of running around naked on Stonehenge.
That was fun seeing him run around naked in Stonehenge.
Mm-hmm.
I love the whole bit because they're like, each of them keeps calling, where is Eric? We can't get a hold of Eric. We as an audience see that he's out here in lectures in the insane asylum. Like, we can see that, but they're all like, where did he's not answering me. I don't know.
With the sweet Stanley cameo.
I know. That was cute. That cameo was cute from Stanley.
And Stanley, and this one definitely felt like a granddad. Like, it was like cute granddad though, right? Like,
oh shoot, remind me what he did. What was
he was in the asylum listening to Eric Selvig give the big speech, and he's like, "Can I have my shoe back, please?"
Oh, yeah. When Eric's like, "Does anyone have any questions?" Right. And he's like, "Yeah, can I have my shoe back?"
My shoe back. That's funny. Yeah,
it was cute. You know, I think a lot of people love the cameos, but I like when it's done in such a way that it's a bit cute. No, I love that bit. I love him going crazy. I love him needing to be around his people again, to be like, and let's be real, even in his sanity, was he really ever fully sane? Let's take it back to the first Thor. Was he ever really fully sane?
Dr. Selvig?
Well, you have to look at, when it comes to science, I always say like there's a thin line between like scientists and like madmen.
That's
so
true.
It's like, some pop culture when it comes to like scientists usually go super crazy, do something super fucked up, and then we have like some sort of anomaly, some sort of awesomeness, or we have failure. So
how many villains have been scientists, right?
Right. Look at Dr. Doom.
Yeah, valid.
Well, he's also a wizard.
Look. If
he's
you
a
want
master
to
of
go
science and
that,
magic.
Now in the comic books, you have, the great Charles Xavier. Charles. I don't want to say he went crazy, but he became kind of despotish later on in like House of X and all of those, like especially like mutants. Like he started to agree with one of the greatest mutants ever. Magneto.
Yes, I said it.
Yeah, man.
I like how you said it, and before anyone said anything else, you went, "Yes, I said it." Like
I'm just saying, because I brought it back to.
I just want to point out that you always accuse other people of fighting with you, but you came into that sentence with your gloves up, and I wasn't even about to say a damn thing.
I'm accepting who I am. I'm accepting.
Yeah, but you were real quick with that. Yeah, and he's like, you ready to jump? Is this what's happening?
I said what I said.
Ain't nobody fighting you though. You was just ready to combat it. But you blame other people all the time about coming at you, when the truth is you literally are just ready to fight at all times.
To quote Tom Hiddleston, trust my rage.
Did anybody else watching this have different emotions for Loki after watching the Loki series?
I mean, this is where you find out he really does give a shit about his mother.
Yeah.
And like as mad as he is at Odin, and who wouldn't be, because Odin
got on my own damn nerves. Yeah.
Odin leans towards the dickish.
Right,
but
not just leans, he's sitting wholeheartedly on it.
Yeah, and then every once in a while he has a nice moment, and he's also which is which also leads into the interesting thing from What If Thor was an only child, if Odin had never adopted Loki would have apparently he was supposed to, like he says in here, your birthright was to die,
right?
You were abandoned, and then but apparently he would have grown up to be a really chill frost giant and then hang out with Party Thor.
Yeah, I think that's what I kept thinking about. Is just like, I kind of wished that was happening. Like, I wish he was that whole thing. Party.
Yeah, but it broke my heart just a little bit when Thor goes to get him out the prison and he has the mirage up of him like being badass. And then where it's like enough. And then you just see him in his cell, everything's torn apart, looking like a shattered mess. Because his mom is calm. It made me go, okay. Like I don't stand Loki as a character. Tom Hiddleston, obviously, but he loved his mom. She was there for him. She came to check on him. And
she was raised by witches. She's more into Loki's side of, cunning magic shit. And he can always see, she could always see through illusions and stuff like that. And
so which is, I was like,
that's their vibe.
Loki.
Yeah, because there was enough Frigga in this. I was like, I'm kind of mad that there's not more Frigga.
Right.
But then we get more in Endgame. So I'm glad
I feel like we could have had so much. We could have had so much more time.
Yeah, I don't think she did a whole lot in the first Thor movie.
No, we kind of see her, but we don't see, like, this was an embodiment of not only are you the king, we get lots of sarcasm out of her when talking to her husband. We get motherly side of her when she's dealing with her sons. We get the badass, I will fight you, sucker. When she goes into the battle with the elf. Like, we get all sides of her, and I'm like, man, there's so much room. I need Marvel. Hey, Marvel, if you're listening, I need a series that's just the badass queens of the Marvel universe together. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know how you're gonna bring someone like
cool.
You work it out, Marvel. I don't care what universe this is in. Let's just have a moment of just badass queenery, including Frida. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, she's the queen of Asgard.
Yeah.
The multiverse, all bets are off. Anything can happen.
Exactly. That's why I said I don't care where you do it. Make it happen. If you need it to be a TV show, again, invite me to your studios. I'll be happy to talk this through. Marvel, I'll be happy to talk this through.
So this movie is it was kind of, I guess, forgotten until Endgame rolls around and they actually go back. This becomes like a major segment of Endgame as they go back in time to this era in this movie, which we'll get to at the end of phase 3.
So they're gonna come back to this time period?
Yeah.
Right? This time at when all this is happening. We're gonna come back to this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm sticking a pin. I'm sticking a pin in Thor the Darkworld. Darcy making out with that intern.
Is that the part you want to stick a pin in? That one part right there.
I like Darcy. She's cute. And I also like Selvig running around naked at Stonehenge. The only other person I've known to ever run around naked at Stonehenge is Artstar.
Yeah. Now you know 2 people.
Yep.
Any other questions about this?
I didn't have any other questions. Just, did you guys like it, and what did you give it? We'll wrap this up by just giving your thumbs up, thumbs down. Is it really just a victim of the time it came out? Right, like Andy said, right after Avengers was so good, and Thor 3 was so good, or Thor 2, Thor 3.
Thor 3, Thor 3
really good. Thor 3.
Yeah, I think some of the constraints.
Not Thor 3. Iron Man 3. Sorry.
Iron Man 3 didn't go over that well either.
It didn't
with the nerds.
But this came out right after Iron Man 3.
Yeah, this was
Iron Man 3 was awesome. But you're about to say that Thor 3 is so good that it makes this one look like shit. Right?
I love.
The first 2 Thor movies.
But it's also a different director as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, is this a problem with who directed this one? We didn't talk about that. We just talked about that.
I don't even remember. I know it wasn't Kenneth Branagh who did the first one.
Well, Taika Waititi does the next 2 Thors that we get.
Oh, the deal with this was Patty Jenkins was supposed to direct it, Thor the Darkworld, who directed the Wonder Woman movie, or both Wonder Woman movies.
Patty Jenkins.
Can I say this real quick?
Yes, you can say it, Artstar. Say it, Artstar.
So Thor, I'm doing air quotes. Thor's theme music is immigrant punk, right? Wonder Woman
Immigrant Song from Led Zeppelin.
Immigrant Song, yeah. Immigrant Punk is Gorgo Badello. But Wonder Woman, her theme music sounds eerily like this song, but it's one of those things where like Patty Jenkins directed these movies. I'm wondering how much say-so she had in when they were doing the music for this. Like, you know,
Patty Jenkins didn't direct this movie. That was a big controversy at the time.
No, I'm talking
was going to, and that's why Natalie Portman signed back on. She was Natalie Portman was very excited to work with Patty Jenkins, and then for some reason she left, and some dude was hired. Natalie Portman was mad about it. Yeah, who also directed a Terminator movie that nobody liked.
Yeah, but I was just trying to say, I was saying the correlation between Thor and Wonder Woman's music. Like, I know Patty Jenkins didn't do Thor; she did Wonder Woman. Like, if you listen,
you thinking she has some influence
on the music from whenever Wonder Woman goes into her badassery, if you listen to the music, it sounds, I don't want to say exactly like Immigrant Song, but it's almost as if it's a cover of Immigrant Song, but it's done by this DJ and I think Hans Zimmer or somebody else. But if you don't know and you're listening to it, it's almost like, oh shit, Thor's music came on when Wonder Woman's fighting.
Immigrant Song was not Thor's music until Taika Waititi in Thor Ragnarok, because that song isn't played until then. And Led Zeppelin was always notoriously stingy about letting their music be used for anything. Until except now, I think it's in every other commercial, because I think they finally said, well, screw it, let's make money.
Right.
But
yeah, bring in the monies.
So this director is to blame. Alan Taylor is the problem. He's the reason it sucked.
I don't know if it sucked though.
I wouldn't say it sucked. I mean,
not that it sucked. It's just the worst of the MCU, which means it's still probably better than most movies, right? Because the MCU is so great.
I'd have to really think about what is the worst of the MCU.
Yeah, I think someone did ask Andy and I this question a few weeks ago at Van Gogh. They said, which movie do you like the least? And neither one of us could give a solid answer. And I think we both said, most people dislike this, but I think my answer was, I don't dislike a movie per se. There are people I dislike, there are actors or scenes I may dislike, but I don't overall. And Andy didn't have a full answer.
Yeah, I mean, I still have to think. I think, and I don't know if like people hate this. People don't hate this movie. I don't think. I think they just are like
just
It's the most of the MCU, and I don't think the MCU really gets much less than Well, depending on who you're talking to.
This Alan Taylor guy is also known for Lost, The West Wing, 6 Feet Under, Sex and the City, The Sopranos, and Game of Thrones, I guess.
So hella good TV shows.
All good TV shows.
But yeah, this was a big the whole Patty Jenkins got like creative differences or something, and then Natalie Portman was mad, so everyone figured, but she was still contractually obligated to do this movie, so she wasn't really gung-ho into it.
You think she half-assed it? She mailed it in.
I think she was okay. But
I don't think Natalie.
But I think like the rumor was like, oh well, Natalie Portman doesn't want to be part of this anymore. She's too pissed, which is why you'll see in the next Avengers movie, like they kind of sort of write her off. But,
oh no!
I guess they came around and she's coming back for Thor 4, which is still
my only trouble with her. I do have a problem with Natalie Portman. Almost that. I don't know if it's a problem. It's just that maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. She's such a good actress. I feel like she doesn't fit. Like for some reason, Scarlett Johansson's good and action and everything. But I was trying to like, why doesn't Natalie Portman? But Natalie Portman just seems too real of an actor. Like she makes it real, which I guess you want, but it's just.
But she is. She's just a regular scientist. I think she's just a regular scientist.
I guess she's good, but it doesn't seem like a Marvel movie when every time she's in, it's like now this is like a real.
Why does it feel that way when ScarJo was in something?
Because she seems cartoon, like bigger than life or something. Like she's like.
You don't see Natalie Portman as bigger than life?
No, she's like a realistic actor.
Yeah, I don't see Natalie. I can see where you're going with that.
I think because she's such a good actress. I think it just throws me off, I guess. It's good though. I think it's a good thing because it makes it more realistic. It makes this crazy Thor world realistic. How can it be? So maybe she's the only reason it is realistic because she's so good. And Darcy's funny. They're such a good.
That was the plan of the MCU, is like to get legit actors to do these things and not wrestlers.
I'll tell you, I tried to watch that 2 Girls, 1 Cup and a Pizza Place that she's on, Darcy's on. That show sucks.
Really?
But she's
I
almost
used to watch it all
she's
the
almost
time.
the same. She's almost the same character though. Like
Kat Dennings
I
is
like
very
Kat
much
Dennings,
the
but it's just like
same everywhere she
every
is.
5 seconds there's a laugh track. It's like every 5 seconds is a joke. I'm like,
you'd rather have
I'm
your
not
own
going to
laugh
pretend Kat Dennings doesn't play Kat Dennings in everything.
She's
and
cute.
that's not in her case. That's not a bad thing. She
No,
doesn't add
it's done in a
Sandler
way. Yeah, it's done in a way where it still makes us smile.
She could get it.
Listen,
Right.
I
she
can't
can
say
get
that.
it too.
I can't say that about her though, because
I'm gonna say it. She can get it. It's fine.
yeah, TBJ. But she's so much younger than us, though. She's like old enough to be our children.
Buy me a drink at the bar. That's
she just
all
got
that
married,
matters.
or she's got engaged to Andrew WK recently.
He's old.
I did see that.
He does only songs about partying. There's an album. He had one big hit called Party Hard. And then I looked in the back of that album, and every other title had the word party in it.
Has he done anything recently?
The same shit, as far as I know.
All right, nerds.
Let's get a party going. Let's get a party going. Now
We gotta end this. We're gonna go around the horn. Everybody give us one sentence about this movie. Leave us with one sentence. Thor the Dark World. Artstar, go.
Trust my rage.
Professor Andy.
I said it twice.
One sentence about Thor the Dark World.
Not as bad as everyone says, but also not super exciting.
TBJ.
I think everyone should go back and rewatch it and formulate their current opinion of it.
Yeah, I'd say that. It's good for reevaluation.
Yeah.
It just has a lame villain.
Yeah,
it's like watching Teen Titans Go, which I love. And Teen Titans Go, they don't really battle any. Every so often, Trigun shows up, but like they fight people like Dr. Light. So it's like,
right, yeah. Well, if you like Teletubbies, then you might like this.
You'll love this.
There you go.
That's the only problem. Those guys look like Teletubbies.
Poco Yo-Yo, whatever the fuck that shit's called.
You mean Yo-Yo? You're thinking of Yo-Yo Ma.
No, so it's just.
I'm not saying no. He's not thinking of Yo-Yo Ma.
Poco, whatever those crazy weird names, but.
No, you're thinking of Yo-Yo
Comes
Ma.
on Cartoon Network in the morning now.
Famous cellist Yo-Yo Ma.
No, I'm not thinking about Yo-Yo Ma.
Art is talking about
Yokozuna. You're thinking of. I don't know what you're saying.
Yokohama.
All right, that's the end of.
All right, do we want to I mean, we haven't talked about the Eternals movie. Has everyone seen that one yet?
No, we got 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, we only have
left
2
in this
minutes,
call,
maybe.
so I haven't seen the Eternals.
All right.
I don't even know what it is. Is it in the MCU?
It is.
Yes.
Oh crap! It's
Joe,
another
we
thing.
win
It's a movie. I
Yeah.
did start
It
watching
just came.
But
Shang-Chi. I started watching that, and it's fucking great.
Yeah.
That bus scene is awesome. But I'm only halfway through it, so
okay.
Don't say anything else.
And then we got the next film we're working on is Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Okay, so we all have to watch that and get back together.
Many people think is
Bucky,
one of the best in the MCU.
Bucky.
What?
Joe gets to see
fuck Bucky.
He just over Bucky action.
Fuck Bucky. Bucky sucks.
Sweet Bucky action.
Listen.
You will not think so once you see him in this movie.
So
You'll be like, Bucky
Winter
can
Soldier
get
is what we're watching.
Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
All right.
Which many people consider one of the best of the MCU.
And you get Brian Zemo.
And we will all watch it by next week at this time.
Wait, what?
We'll try. We'll try.
I'm about to say I got time next week. It's Thanksgiving break. Let's do it.
Oh, we should. Yeah, thanks.
And we get Hawkeye next week. 2 episodes of Hawkeye.
Oh,
really? Comes out next week. All right. I love you, nerds.
They say I can't rap about the president no more, but evidently they don't see we in the streets still poor. Still more incarceration of my kinsmen by the prisons, and people thinking this election to end racism. Proud over pessimism, glad to see Obama, but don't expect me not to speak out when I still see problems.
The Nerd Skool Podcast.
Nerd Skool is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Now offering video visits so you can take control of your orthopedic care from the comfort of your home. Schedule online at orthocarolina.com. Ortho Carolina, you improved.
Listen, people can make fun of me for my holiday movies all we want to, but I'm like, are you alive? Did I fuss at you today? Did I yell about anything? All right, then. You're welcome. You better thank Hallmark for keeping me safe.